A common issue we keep running into with businesses such as yourselves is signing documents via DocuSign or one of these external providers can be a bit of a pain. And there's a lot of manual process in downloading that document, uploading it to DocuSign, manually entering all of that information and then sending it off to the client. And then the downside as well, you have to keep an eye out for that document coming back from a client and watching out for the return of the email. So we've done this quite a lot, and it's something that we think is quite prevalent for a lot of businesses, is a DocuSign integration with make.com. Obviously, this integrated approach allows your team to eliminate any manual processes, but also reduce bottlenecks and speed up decision making and closing times on deals dramatically. So here's the magic in action. Let's jump into it. Here on make.com, first we'll have to start off with the webhook integration. So we're going to look for webhooks under add a module, and we're going to start off with a custom webhook. We want the custom webhook, not the mail hook. And we'll start this, and we'll have to create a new webhook. So we'll click add webhook, and the webhook name can be anything. In this case, we're just going to name it Smart Webhook. Then we'll call it Bitrix24 send doc. Now we'll save that, and it's going to generate us the webhook address. That's perfect. So what we're going to do, we're going to build out this entire workflow, and then we'll add in these custom fields. So we'll copy that to our clipboard and we'll press save. Now the next stage is going to be getting the deal. So we'll add on another module. So now the next stage is going to be get a deal. So we're going to use Bitrix24 integration inside of make, and we're going to look for the get a deal stage. So if we just type in get a deal, and then you can see here we're just going to select get a deal. It's important to make sure we select the connection. You can do this by adding your own connection here, and we can set up that connection quite easily. So for you, it's going to be adding your Bitrix24 URL. You can do that by going to your Bitrix site, copy and pasting that URL, and then putting it into make, just like this. Just like this. So we'll copy and paste that into here, and then we'll just save that. Now in your deal ID section, once the webhooks run, we'll have access to the ID. As I said, we'll have to build up the full workflow. So now we've got get a deal. We need to get a contact from that deal. So we'll have to look for this get a contact. It's usually up at the top, and we're going to select the contact ID in just a moment. So now we've got get a contact. The next stage is to download the file that's in the Bitrix. So we'll have to look for the HTTP integration inside of make, and we'll have to choose get a file. So this downloads a file from a URL that you give it. So we'll have to select this integration. In a moment, we'll select the correct URL as well. So after our HTTP integration, the next step is going to be get a document and send that via DocuSign. So we'll have to search in here, and we'll have to look for send a document just here. Now we'll click on send a document, and you'll have to connect your DocuSign account. It's really easy. It's a simple OAuth. So connect up your DocuSign account, and we can select the specific account on that account which we're going to use. In this case, it's Giorgio's account. So for now, we'll have to exit out of that. And the last step is going to be back to Bitrix, and we'll have to update the deal to say that invoice has been sent, basically. So we'll look for update a deal, and we'll just click on update a deal here. So basically, this last step is just going to put some information in Bitrix to say the document's been sent and when it's been sent. And we'll have to do that under the comment stage. So now we've got the full workflow built out, we'll have to start adding data into it. So we'll start off inside of Bitrix. The first step is going to be going into our CRM and into the deal section. Now we want to select the correct pipeline that we'll have to do this automations on. For me, this is have to be a custom DocuSign pipeline, and we'll have to do it underneath the invoicing section. So we'll find our way into the automation section. Make sure you select your correct pipeline. And then we'll have to create the webhook automation in here. So under our invoice section, we'll have to click on Edit in Workflow Designer. And then in here, under the other tab, we're going to look for custom webhook or outbound webhook. So just here, outbound webhook. and we'll have to click, drag, and drop that into our workflow. So just in between start and end, if you just drop that in, super simple. And if we click on this little settings cog, we can go into here and we can add in our webhook from make under the handler section. So back into make, and we're just going to copy that address. So if we press the copy address to clipboard button, and then back into Bitrix, and we're just going to copy and paste that. So if we click on this little tab at the right, it gives us a bunch of indices. So we're going to look for the ID tab, and once the ID is in there, we're going to hit save, and we're going to come out of here. So press save down at the bottom, and that's going to take us back to the automation menu, and we can just back out of here. So now we're going to want to click onto the Emra Solac stage. Obviously, this is going to be your deal specifically, and we're just going to look at the ID that we're going to be using. So all deals inside of Bitrix, all contacts have their own IDs. Specifically, this one is going to be 1408. So I'm going to show you how to get this. Other than in the URL at the top, we can actually search by it in a custom field that's designated in Bitrix. So we can come down here, and under select a field, we're just going to type in ID, and then we're just going to select the ID field. Now I've already got it selected. There's also external ID. You don't want external ID. I'm just going to select it here to show you what the external ID is. So we'll select on that, and you can see here it's empty. So definitely don't select external ID. You just want to choose the ID section. So now we've got the ID, we're going to be able to find that inside of Bitrix, and especially when we're doing the webhook call, we'll have access to the ID. The next stage is going to be the file. So we're going to upload our invoice in here, and under create field, we'll go to file, and then we'll give that file name invoice. You can name this whatever you'd like. Now we'll just save that custom field, and let's move that up to the top. So this is where we're going to start our document. We'll just quickly generate an invoice here. So up in our invoice generator, we'll hit invoice. Now when your salesperson or whoever's doing this process, they'd create the document, hopefully proof check it, make sure everything's right, then download it and just drop it into this invoice section here. So this is going to be where it's stored in Bitrix, and this is how make.com is going to be able to download that file. So we'll just drop that in there, and then we'll hit save. Perfect. So now we've got our invoice, we've got our deal ID. We'll have to head back into automation rules. Just make sure we're in the correct pipeline. So we'll head back into automation rules, and we'll have to click back onto that webhook. So this is really important. We're going to have to put in a little syntax just before the ID here. So we'll have to type in, we'll have to put question mark, and then capitals ID, and then the equal sign. And that's just going to tell this webhook to take that ID and give it to make.com basically. So we'll save that, and then we'll have to hit apply as well. And then we'll make sure we hit save. So now that webhook's got the information, we can save this webhook in here, and we can run this. So now when we run this module and move our deal to the invoice stage where the automation is, it's going to get that information. And you can see here we've got that deal ID in make.com, which is perfect. So now from here, we're going to add it to get a deal. So what's happened here is because we've not run the entire stage, we don't actually have the ID in here. So for now, we're just going to run it manually. So if we right click on the get a deal stage module for Bitrix24, we can add in that ID manually. So run this module, and then we'll have to type in 1408. Obviously for you, this will be the ID specific to your tag. And you can see here, we've now got all the information that we're going to need. So now we've got all the information from the deal, we're going to have to get the contact information. So under contact, get a contact, if we click into here, we can add the contact ID from the previous stage, from get a deal. So once it loads, we'll click on to contact ID. And in here, we're going to look for the contact. So if we just type in contact, and here you can see we've got the contact ID up here at the top. So you just want to make sure that this matches the contact in Bitrix, and if it does, we'll have to drag and drop that field into here. So you can see if we go back into the deal, we can actually click onto the contact, and just like the deal, up at the top, we're going to see the ID. So we want to make sure they match. For me, they didn't because I was using a different account. This is also crucial as well, but not an issue you should run into. So we'll have to drag in that contact ID up at the top, and we'll have to put it in there. and then hit save. Perfect. So next we want to run this, and we're just going to type in that contact ID manually. So for me, this is going to be contact 404, the ID is there. So we'll copy and paste that, and we'll have to put it into make.com. So copy and paste and hit OK. So you can see here now we've got all the contact information. With this contact information, we'll have to be able to get the URL for the HTTP. So once again, inside of make.com, we'll have to copy and paste the URL of our Bitrix site into make. So we'll copy paste that URL. And then at the end of here, we're going to want to add on our URL. So if we type in download or contact, so here we've typed in contract. For you, this might be invoice, and whatever you've named that custom field. So we'll have to take that custom field, the download URL, and we're just going to put it on the end of there. That's perfect. So now we've done that, let's go into the DocuSign. You'll want to make sure your DocuSign account's connected and select your right account. So from here, we're just going to put in all the information that's going to send through DocuSign. So for us, first of all, we're going to want to do recipients, and then signers. This is the person you're actually sending it to, and we'll add in their email. So if we just tip on here, make sure it's under get a contact, and we're going to look for their email address. So we just type in email, and you can see here we've got email here. So we'll just drag and drop that in. Now we need to fill in the name. Oh, sorry, let me just delete that. So we need to add in their name as well. So we've got their email address, and we'll get their name as well. So that's also in the get a contact. So we'll type in name here. We type in name, and we want their first and last name. Really important as well, in between the first and the last name, that you put a space, just so it looks correct on the document. So let's make sure we've got a space in between there. Perfect. And then recipient ID. For this, we're just going to use the contact ID. Just try and type that in. So contact ID, and we're just going to use the one at the top. So this is stored against the record in DocuSign. It's nice just to keep everything nice and organized. So now we've got that. Let's scroll down here. So we're just going to scroll down, and we'll have to fill in the subject. Now this can be anything you want, obviously, for the subject of the email. This is what recipient sees. We're just going to put a new invoice from Emra. Now the next step is going to be filling in the document ID here. So we'll have to make sure this HTTP get file is filled in. That's from the previous stage. And we also need to do document ID. I'm just going to put in a placeholder for now. What this will be in the end, we'll have to do the get a deal ID. So we'll make sure that this is changed shortly. And we'll just put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for now. So the next step is going to be filling in the rest of these fields. So in your update a deal stage, we're just going to put in the ID, so the deal ID, and we're going to put into the comments. We'll have to put the date and some information from DocuSign. So you can put in whatever information you like here. For me, I'm just going to put it under comment, and I'm just going to put in the time it was sent, and we'll put in a dash, and we'll also send the status date time. So we've got access basically, and we can see when it was sent and the ID of the document. So we'll save that, and this is essentially the first stage done. So let's run it and let's see. Okay, so we've missed some values in DocuSign. Let's head back into DocuSign. Okay, so what's happened here? We need to fill in the document ID. That's fine. So under document ID, what we're going to do is we're just going to put in our deal ID. And once our deal ID is in, that should be okay. So let's save that, and we'll hit run. So now it's running. We'll have to go back into Bitrix, and we'll have to move our deal onto that stage. So we'll move it onto the invoice stage, and you can see here it's ran. DocuSign, Bitrix, that's perfect. So now you can see here the system has run through. We'll jump onto the next part, which is going to be getting it to come back. So what we're going to do, we're going to come onto a new scenario here in Make, and we're going to add on a new module. So this time we're going to start with DocuSign, and we're going to go to the DocuSign integrations, and we're going to look for watch envelope. So we just type in envelope. Now it's really important we select the correct one here. So we want to select watch envelope completed, and we want instant and acid. Do not choose the other one. We want instant and acid. And then create your webhook here. So it's very helpful. Make sort of does this automatically for you. Just make sure you're connected to the correct account. and it's off to automatically link up those webhooks for you as well inside of DocuSign. And then once again, just select your correct account and we'll hit save. So now we've got the watch set up, so it was watching for the DocuSign to be signed. We'll have to look for this list envelope documents here. Now what this is going to do, once it's been signed, it's off to list all the documents that have been signed on there. And specifically, we're going to be using this to get the envelope ID, which, as you remember, we set as the deal ID from Bitrix. So we'll select envelope ID and we'll just put in the envelope ID into here. And then we'll hit save. So now it knows which envelope to look for. And our next one is just going to be updating Bitrix and moving it to the next stage. So we're going to type in update deal. So we'll select update a deal here. And make sure we're on the correct Bitrix account, and then deal ID for us, because we selected it, it's just going to be the document ID from the previous stage. So we'll select document ID, and then under deal stage here, so for you this might be as simple as turning off mapping and selecting from the drop down. Now if you have multiple pipelines, you're going to have to manually look for the name of the deal stage, and I'll show you how to do that. But if it is here, just select the stage and you can move on to the next part. If it isn't there, let's go and we'll have to create a new Bitrix integration, and we'll have to look for get a deal. So if we just type in get a deal, and we'll have to select that, and we'll have to use this to find the name on the back end of what that stage is called. So we'll put in our deal ID here. It doesn't actually matter because we'll have to do this manually, but we'll just select the document ID so we can save it. And we just want to make sure on Bitrix that our deal is in the correct stage. So you can see here it's in the in progress stage. That's where we want it to end up. So that's where it wants to be at the end after it's been signed. And we'll run this module inside of make, and we'll put in our deal ID manually. So that for us was 1408. And you can see here under deal stage, this is the name of that stage. So we'll have to copy and paste that. We can actually get rid of this here now. So we'll copy and paste that. That is equivalent to in progress. We'll close this and we'll actually delete it because we don't need it anymore. So we'll hit delete on there, and we can come into our previous integration and we'll just put under deal stage. We'll make sure mapping is turned off. Redo our document ID. Mapping's turned on. And then C92 executing. So that's the name of that specific stage. And that's it all set up. So what we can do now is run it and see it in action. So let's move our deal back to the previous stage, so where it'd be initially. We'll have to hit run once. So this would be live, obviously, and it'd be running. Just for now, we'll have to move it to invoice. So your salesperson's created the invoice, uploaded it, and put it onto here. And in the back end, Make's doing its magic. You can see on here, 1408, the document's in there, and Make's already processed that. So it's been sent to DocuSign and it's updated the deal on Bitrix. Now we can run the other integration, and I'll just do this signature now. Okay, so I've just done the signature on DocuSign. I've just signed it as if I was a client signing the invoice. And you can see here, make.com's just updated. So that webhook's caught it, it's pushed it through, and it's updated the deal. Now, because I've done this a few times now for testing, Operation 2 hasn't run. It's tried running 2 operations, but you can see here, Operation 1 has run and it has been successful. So now if we go back into Bitrix, we're going to be able to see that the progress, it has been updated to in progress and it's moved it to the next stage. So that's the system. Don't let outdated processes hold you back anymore. We've been building make.com Bitrix24 workflows for almost 3 years now. We're sort of experts in the Bitrix24 system, especially the on-premise. If you have any questions at all regarding Bitrix24, make.com, or how they combine, come and have a chat with us. Thank you so much.